When you take your chain off, you just grab the one side and Alright, now we're going to lay the chain out, kind of look it over. So when you lay them out, to do it, make sure your cross rails are facing up. So you're going to be looking over your chains, make sure they're good. So you got right here, these are your boomers, right? So you've got boomers on each side. You got right here your center link, center hook to hook up. These right here are your cam locks for tightening. So you got them on both sides, inside and outside of your tires. And you got your cross rails, right? So you want to be looking. Make sure you got your studs are pretty good on your cross rails, which you got a lot of studs on these, but not just your studs. You want to be looking at all your links right here, right? Because a lot of times links get worn, and then if you see, and even check to make sure that these are closed, there's no gaps, because sometimes these spread apart and you can actually lose your cross rail really easy. So you just go along and check all your links, check your cross rails. And then, you know, if you have a cross rail that's broken or needs to be replaced, we keep them on hand. Should hopefully have some in your truck with your pliers, and you can just change them out. These chains look in pretty good shape. So when you're ready to put them back on, the real important thing is making sure that you're set up for putting them on your tires. So you want your rails, these set, go over like that, right? So they're facing the other cross rail. So when you look at it, you want your cross rail facing down the top pair, because then when you put it on the tire, you're going to put this one down, and then as you flip on the tire the other way, all the cross rails are facing up. If you did it the opposite way and laid it down, that's when you get into the trouble of having all your nubs go into your tire. So as you turn over, you want to make sure the top cross rails are facing down. And then you know you're good to go. Okay, and then we're going to put it back on the rack. Right? And so a big problem that people do is a lot of these will hang on the road, and that's why all your links will get worn out. So I always take the very first link, I'll put it on, and what I like to do is I'll stretch it out, give it a good shape, I'll put that set on, and then as it's hanging right there, I just grab this center, pop it on. And then I stretch it out, and I'll come this way, right? And then you plop it on. And then visually look, make sure nothing is dragging. If you know, if you put it on, like say, like that, well, let's go a little more. You can see that's dragging, and that'll start to wear out, and you can wear these chains out really quick, the ends of them. So there, now it's all set up, easy to take off. Yeah. So the biggest thing is as you're putting on the chains, it's not all about how fast you go. You want to take your time, make sure they get put on properly. One of the biggest things is as you put the chain on, you want to make sure these studs are facing up, not into the tire. If they're facing in the tire, you should take them off and redo them, because that's how the tires get damaged and you'll have to get them replaced. So you really want to take your time to make sure everything, is not grooving, and you just take your time. And you take your back end here and you kind of lay everything out so when you roll over. And then even take your time. As you can see, this piece right here, if you look, this little tail piece has spun inside out, so you can see this rail. So all you have to do is flip it around, and these little extra little steps make a huge difference in the long run. So as you got your first tire on and you look at it, one of the biggest things you want to do is check to see how far your chains are hanging. Now, so when you do all your other tires, you want it pretty much the same way, because as you roll forward and you hook them up, if you don't, that's how chains can flop over and make it more of a pain. So you can see this one, as I put it on, is hanging a little more. So instead of I'm going to just lift it up, adjust it to where it's pretty close to the other side. All right, and you tuck those in. And some guys will just leave them bunched up like that, but when you pull them ahead, they can fall off your tire, and then it's just going to cost you more time. So you take the time now and just have everything laid out nicely. We're rolling ahead. There. And I always some guys do put their boomers in the front. I was always taught to put my boomers in the back, not to drive over them. Some guys, they do it the other way. But when you do your steer, you should have your boomer in the front, the opposite of the other ones, just for the fact that if you put your boomer in the back, your boomer will be on the inside of your tire. And with the boomer on the inside, that's where you can start tearing off lines and wrecking your brake pods. So on this one, you want your boomer, you want your hook on the inside, and your boomer on the outside on a single on your steers. And if you're chaining up even one set, I always say you chain up your drives, you put a steer on all the time. Seeing this one's little, so I'm just going to pick it up a bit, adjust it. There, now we're ready to pull ahead. And when you pull ahead, I like my boomers right about, say, this area right here, easy to work with. I don't want it up too high because then you got to pull your chain up. It's harder on you. So I always keep my chains right here, and I'll be looking in the mirror to try to, for one of my boomers here. All right, so you come back here and you can see your kind of where my boomers are. And since I put them pretty much the same spot, these boomers are all about the same. And if you, all 4 tires, they'll be roughly the same. So you come in now, and you always do your center link first. Get it as tight as you can. And you hook it up. Now, everyone always goes on the inside first, but what I like to do, just a little pain, I'll quickly just hook this right here so it doesn't get caught in here as I'm pulling tight on this side. So then you'll come here, and you want to go as tight as you can. Oh, this guy kind of screwed. See, it's actually, this is great. This tire, as you can see, for whatever reason, I didn't pull it out far enough, so it's actually stuck under the tire. So I'm going to have to adjust this, and then I'll probably have to take this chain off and redo it. So you can see this guy, now you can see the chain, so we're good there. So going tight. And I just quickly hook this guy, make it easier. So then you got this tail left over right here, right? So since it's so long, you don't want it taking out airbags or anything. So you fold it back in the boomer, go tight. Oh, of course. There you go. Go tight, and you hook. Take this guy. Tight. Enough chain. You want to go back in around. And tight. And that's fairly tight. But you can see how loose it is. So, and that's on every, so you can tighten it this way. And there you go. And that's, to be honest, that's still fairly loose, but you're on your last link, so you might, these are chains that are getting to the point where you might even have to loosen them up, make them a little shorter. You do your steer. Let's hook there. I mean, you bend it. Son of a bitch. So sometimes if it's too tight and you just can't get it, you just take the next one. Go ahead and you can tighten them up, you know, and that's very tight. And then usually you go for 500 meters, a kilometer, whatever, and everything will adjust to the tire, and then you could probably grab a couple extra links.